This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Today's shir is dedicated to Nishmas Yitzchok Isaac ben Pinchas Moshe HaKohen Yashikoyach. Thank you. A good Chodesh Adar, everybody. Nachamol. Another time. Okay. Happy Rosh Chodesh, everybody. So, as we said, the Gemara in Tainus Daf Chav Tes says, "Mishenichnas Adar Marbe Mesimcha." When Adar comes, we increase in joy. Question is, this year there are two Adars. I personally think, this is between us, but I personally think that this business of two others was invented by Jewish housewives in order to push away, but in order to postpone Pesach. You know, so this way we have another month. I'll tell you, so in America we follow the more secular calendar as far as you have the January, February, March for fiscal things and for academic things. In Eretz Yisrael, in Israel, they follow the Jewish calendar. So over there, the parents never have to pay an extra month tuition, right? The leap year, right? They have a second other. Okay, but here's the question. Which other do we have to increase joy? Is it both others or just one other, which would be the month of Purim, which is not this month? Purim doesn't come out of this month, it's next month. So that's a machlokes between the Levush. The Levush is very adamant. He says it's only the second month. It's a month that has Purim in it. Although we do have Purim Cotton in this month. And therefore there are certain restrictions as far as mourning is concerned. And eulogies are concerned. And there's no Tachnun on the Purim Cotton. However, it's not the full-blown Purim by any stretch of the imagination. If you see somebody in 2 weeks walking around with costumes, I don't know, he may need a little help. We don't walk around in costumes. Maybe in your house you could do it because it's a miniature Purim. It's a Purim Khan. You should make a shtickle Su'udah, make a little of a Su'udah. There is an Indian to make a Su'udah even on Purim Khan. However, the Chasam Sofer, as well as the Kedushas Levi and the Sfas Emes all say that the happiness and joy begins today, the first day of Adar. So where are your smiles? No, smile a little. Okay, we have to laugh. The Sefer Yetzirah. It's reputed to be the oldest Sefer known to mankind. Sefer Yetzirah, perhaps written by Avram Avinu. So Sefer Yetzirah speaks about the different months. It's a Kabbalistic Sefer, and it says that this month is a month of laughter. It's connected to the spleen. The spleen. That's why a person should be careful about getting splenectomy. If he needs a splenectomy, if a person needs to take their spleen removed, okay. But otherwise, the spleen is connected to joy, to laughter. And this month is a month of laughter. It's a very, very special month. So it means that we have a very special avodah, we have a special exercise and do our due diligence and work very hard on finding ways to laugh. Finding reasons to have joy and happiness and simcha. 60 days, not easy. 60 days, but the Sifrei Chasidus say something beautiful. And that is that we know that if you have a little piece of meat that falls into a pot of milk or something, right? So we know that 60 always nullifies. So that means that these 60 days can nullify all the negativity. These 60 days can nullify Chas any tragedies, any types of diseases, any illnesses. 60 days of joy can nullify anything bad. So we have a tremendous opportunity over the next 60 days to work on cultivating happiness. That means that every single day throughout the next 60 days, you should find one reason to be happy throughout the day. Set aside a few minutes during the day and think about something to be joyous about, something to be grateful about, something to be happy about. You'll see your life will change. Meditate. Take one time, confine yourself. I know it's hard in today's day and age to confine yourself. Turn off that phone. Okay? Make sure not to have any disturbances or diversions or distractions. Confine yourself in solitude. We don't have a forest unless, you're living maybe, Lakewood, right? But in Lakewood, there's no forest left in Lakewood, right? It used to be full of woods. That's why it's called Lakewood. Baruch Hashem, there's still a lake there. I don't know what they're going to do. They can start building houses on the lake. I don't know. But there's no woods left almost, right? But anyhow, you have to find a place to go, and you have to find a place to really, to have a connection, and to have joy. So whether it means buying a little special food, today's Rosh Chodesh, by the way, that's why you're supposed to have a special food. That's why we're serving lox here today. Right? You're supposed to have something special on Rosh Chodesh. And not on Rosh Chodesh. So every single day, don't go too high in the calories, okay? I'm not paid by Weight Watchers, so you can do whatever you want. But we're supposed to watch ourselves, okay? We're supposed to take care of our health, okay? So I'm saying, but whether it's a little Michael, a treat, a healthy treat. Treats can be healthy also. Look at Rabbi Shalom created the most beautiful nuts and fruits for us to take pleasure in. The Sifrei Kabbalah say that the only reason Rabbi Shalom created all these beautiful varieties of fruits is for us to have pleasure, for us to have joy. So whatever it means for you to have a little joy. Why is Adar so special? Why is it the only month that we have You have Yom Tovim in other months. Pesach is a Nisan, so we don't say that the whole Nisan is full of Pesach. We don't say the whole Tishrei is full of Sukkot. Why is Adar unique? That the whole Adar is full of Purim. It's full of joy. And it's brought down in the Sfarim that the reason for that is that Adar is a very special month. It's actually the Hachana it's a preparation for Mashiach, for the Geula, for the redemption. And that's why the entire month is special. Nisan, we had our redemption, our previous redemption in Nisan. That's when we were liberated from the tyranny of Egypt. And Nisan, Asidim Legal, Nisan will be our future redemption. Our redemption coming up as very, very soon. So the hachana for that, the preparation for that is in none other than Adar. So Adar is a very, very special time when we get ready for Mashiach. And you won't believe what's the most important prerequisite for bringing Mashiach, the preparation for Mashiach. You won't believe it. You know what it is? It's none other than Simcha. Simcha. And that's why Sameach, Sin Mem Ches, shares the same shurish, the same root as Mashiach. What brings Mashiach is Simcha. When a person is in tune with the divine, then the person is happy. How can you not be happy? You have Hashem in your life. You have a Father who's always looking out for you, who's always providing for you, who's always sustaining you, who's always nurturing you and nourishing you, who cares about you in every single way possible and wants the best for you. So what could be bad? That gives joy. When you have Hashem in your life, when you allow Hashem to enter your life, you truly have emunah, you truly have life of faith, when you realize that Hashem is running the world, I have no fears, I have no qualms, I have no worries, then you have beautiful life and you're full of joy. Joy brings Mashiach. So let's all work on being joyous, and B'ez Hashem, we're going to see a tremendous, tremendous gula. But it goes even deeper than that. Because the Chernobyl in the Ma'or Naim, the Sefer Ma'or Naim says that Adar is a contraction of Aleph Dor. Aleph referring to Alufo Shel Olam, to Hashem himself. Alufo, Aleph, is the chief of the world, the captain of the world. Aleph, the singular and unique, the one and only. Hashem Dor. Hashem resides with who? With those that he loves most. Klal Yisrael, his nation, his people, his family, us. That's Adar. See, Adar is a time when, if you think about it, we experienced the very, very first ever genocide, mass extermination. It was repeated in the time of Hitler, and that's why many say that Hitler and Haman were almost synonymous in a way. They both, their names start with a Hay or a H. Haman, Haman, Hitler. Hitler wanted to eradicate the entire world, Jewish world, everyone. As a matter of fact, there's a famous story. Anybody remember a mayor that we had, Mayor Ed Koch? Anybody remember him? Okay. Yeah. How can you forget him, right? He was Jewish. Wasn't unfortunately observant at all. But he was originally from the Bronx. When he was a mayor, the ambassador from Israel, the consul general, his name was, I forgot his name. It was actually Chief Rabbi Meir Lau, Yitzchok Meir Lau, the famous great rabbi of Eretz Yisrael. It was his brother. And his brother was a consul general. So they both became very famous in their own respective roles. His brother was an ambassador, a consul general. And his brother came to visit New York. And his brother was in Buchenwald. He was in a concentration camp. He was a Holocaust survivor. And when Koch met him, Koch told him, I know you're a survivor of the Holocaust, you and your brother. He was actually much older than the chief rabbi, but he took care of his little brother. He said, I'm also a survivor, said Koch. And the ambassador looked at him and said, what do you mean you're a survivor? You're a survivor of the Bronx, you know? Not an easy place to live, right? So he says, no, I'm a survivor of the Holocaust. He says, how are you a survivor of the Holocaust? He says, I saw Hitler's globe. Now, today, we don't need globes. I don't know if you remember, go to school, right? They had the globe, right? You know what I'm talking about? Today, you have Google Maps, right? You know, nobody knows what a globe is today. Most people don't even have to practice penmanship anymore. Who writes anything anymore? It's all about typing, right? It's becoming a skill that's obsolete. But anyhow, there was once this thing called a globe. And Hitler had a globe. And on this globe, he demarcated every single place on planet Earth that was civilized, that had human habitation, how many Jews live in that geography? How many Jews live in that territory? He took a survey of every little place, most obscure locations, where there are Jews. And he wrote down a number and put a needle in that place. And these places were marked for extinction, for eradication, to kill the Jews there. In America, he had a needle, a big needle. 6 million Jews in America then. And his target was to kill them all. Baruch Hashem, he didn't get to meet his objective. But Koch said, I saw that, and I realized I'm a survivor. He wanted to get me, and he didn't. Imagine that. Haman wanted to eradicate every single Jew alive. Hitler almost met his objective. 1 out of every 3 Jews alive were killed, including at least 1 million Jewish little children. Haman tried. He wanted to make it happen. Imagine this. The first time that the Jews were ever targeted like that. The Jews were in Eretz Yisrael for almost 1,000 years. Before that, they were in Egypt. They never had this. And now they were facing extinction, extermination, decimation, annihilation, to be totally obliterated from the face of the planet. And it looked terrible. It was worse than ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and it was worse than Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas. And it was worse than all these, sycophantic, domestic terrorists, anti-Semites that shoot up Pittsburgh synagogue, whatever it is. Because he had an official agenda that was backed by the king. And the Jews, they were vulnerable. And when you looked at the face of things, no one was helping. There were no outright miracles. But Hashem, behind the scenes, was concealed and veiled. No one could tell unless you were able to read behind the lines. Unless you were able to probe and decipher and read deeper. If you had a Jewish conscience and you saw the Rebbeinu Shalom in your life, understood that these events cannot be random, and none of these events are arbitrary, but they come from Hashem. And that will be repeated in our times, and they're being repeated right now. Anybody who doesn't understand what's going on in the world now is nisim and flows, ran and directed by Hashem, is blind. But it's not going to be explicit. It's going to be like Purim. And that's why it says, Kol Moadim Asidim Lebatel. All the Yom Tovim, all the holidays will be nullified. Chutz mi Purim. It doesn't mean necessarily that when Mashiach comes, we're not going to have Pesach. Sorry. We're still going to have Pesach. I'm sorry. I know I'm talking to the wrong audience. Although, Baruch Hashem, I go away. But anyhow, I still have to work. I have to give all those shiurim, right? But anyhow. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm asking. So, we're going to have all the Yom Kippur. I'm sorry, we still have to get fast, maybe. Okay. You're going to have the Moedim. Baruch Hashem, we're going to have the Moedim. But Purim is the only one that's going to be so paramount, because the idea, the concept of Purim is going to be that we're going to be able to understand how every part of what we view as nature is really Hashem's signature, is Rebbeinu Shalom. Hashem Dor, Aleph Dor. Rebbeinu Shalom is living with us. He's affecting our lives. He's changing our lives. He's orchestrating everything. I want to tell you the story. Mama's an amazing story that happened. I was once visiting someone in his office. And this guy, Baruch Hashem, is a very affluent guy, very matzliach. And I saw something strange. Because next to his desk, there's a screen, there's a monitor. And I'm thinking, so like in between deals, he's watching television? It's a little strange, But I look at the monitor, and I say, if it's a television show, it's pretty boring. Because all I see is this old man, an aged, frail man, walking around an apartment. I see, what's this guy doing? Who's he watching? What's going on? So I was a little curious. I said, what's that? And he says, that's my father. I'm here in New York. He's in Eretz Yisrael. He's in his early 90s. He's a Holocaust survivor. Unfortunately, I can't be with him in Eretz Yisrael. So I have a camera set up. We're thousands of miles away from each other, but I watch him all day to make sure he's okay. We have a health aide, but I don't trust anyone. I watch my father. Imagine that. And I realized that there's someone watching us. The father doesn't realize he's being observed. I mean, he probably forgot. He has a little dementia. Someone probably told him, asked him permission, But on a day-to-day basis, you think he realizes that someone's caring and someone's shouldering his burden, so to speak, and someone's watching him? He doesn't realize. He's not cognizant of it. That's us. Our Tati, our Father in heaven, he has a screen. He doesn't need a screen. He's watching us. And most of the time, we don't realize. We know we have a Father in heaven. We know someone's watching us, but we don't pay attention to it. That's Aleph Dar. That's Purim. That's Adar. 60 days of Adar to remind us that Aleph Dar, that the Rebbeinu Shalom is watching us and is with us. He's dwelling with us. The Sefer HaKushiyos, which was one of the early Rishonim, we're not sure exactly who wrote it. Sefer HaKushiyos says that Adar comes from Hadar. Hadar, which means resplendent, which means magnificent. Because Adar is the forerunner to spring, to Chodesh Aviv, when all the trees are going to blossom again. And it's telling us, don't worry, it's the end of the year, because the year begins with Nisan, the holidays, and there's the 12th month. The 12th month of the Jewish year is Adar. All right, so end, the last, right? New beginnings are fresh, but endings are always, no. Adar tells us that there's hope. It's Hadar. It's Hadar. Adir, strong. Hadar, splendid, and the splendor. But there's more to it. Because the Ibn Ezra says something absolutely astounding. Ibn Ezra says that Adar, something happened on Rosh Chodesh Adar, the first day of Adar. And that is that there was a new human habitat. The beginning, the dawn of a new civilization. Because the world was destroyed with the Mabul. Remember the Mabul? The world was destroyed. And Noach went ahead and he sent out the dove. He sent out the bird to see what will be. Do we have a chance to revive the world? Will the world ever be afresh and anew? And the first time the dove came back, the dove wasn't very happy and nowhere to land. The world was still in ruins, destroyed. But the second time the dove came back, and the dove had a place to rest. And it was the dawn of a new civilization. Says Ibn Ezra, this was on Rosh Chodesh Adar, the first day of Adar. Aleph Dar, the first of the new Dar, the first of the new civilization. There's hope, there's renewal, there's revival, there's a new beginning. That's Chodesh Adar. So, we have so much to be joyous about. There's more. The zodiac, 12 months, follows the zodiac. And every month is associated with one of the tribes of Klal Yisrael, one of the Shiftei Ka, the sons of Yaakov Avinu. It also has different associated identities. Fish, happens to be others fish. But which tribe is Chodesh Adar? Which tribe? So really it would have been Yosef, Hatzadik. But Yosef became his two sons, Menashe and Ephraim. The Seder Adar says something outstanding. It says that if you look at the Pasuk says about the birth of Menashe and Ephraim. So it says, Ulu Yosef Yulad Shnei Banim. To Yosef was born two sons. It said Yulad is Lashon Yochid, singular. He says, you know why? It's because Menashe and Ephraim were really twins. They're twins. Menashe and Ephraim were twins. And 2 months of Adar were split up between Menashe and Ephraim. Adar Aleph, Menashe, Adar Beis, Ephraim. So what's the message? What's the message of Menashe? So Torah says, when Menashe was born, Vayikra Yosef Hashem HaBechor Menashe. Yosef called his firstborn Menashe. Why? Ki nashani Elokim es kol amali ves kol beis avi. Because Hashem allowed me, made me forget Amali, my hardship, That's Kol Beis Avi and my father's household. What does that mean? And we all know that Yosef suffered. Yosef was persecuted by his brothers. He was sold into slavery. He had a very, very hard life, terrible life. So what was Yosef saying here? Was Yosef saying that I'm disassociating myself from my past, I'm disconnecting myself, I'll never remember them, I'm just totally forgetting everything, I'm going to have a new identity now? Does that sound like Yosef, Hatzadik, who preserved his morality and kept the Torah in the face of the worst hardships? Doesn't sound like him. So what does it mean, Nashani? Nashani. So Rav Shamshur Fall Hirsch has an explanation. And before him, the Siforno has an explanation. The Radak has an explanation. The Bnei Yissaschar has an explanation. Many, many Rishonim Achronim grapple with, well, what's Yosef saying here? I mean, I meet people that have had hard lives, counsel people that have had hard lives, and they're like, I'm cutting myself off from my past. I'm not gonna talk to my parents anymore, they say. I'm not gonna talk to my siblings anymore. So no, you don't want to do that. Is that acceptable? That's what it sounds like he's saying. Nashani Elokim, as Kol Amoli, God made me forget all my hardships, all my struggles. As Kol Beis Avi, goodbye, Charlie. Goodbye, family. Nothing to do with you anymore. I'm a self-made man. I prospered. I'm in Egypt. I have a life. I have a wife. I have kids. I have the position, the greatest position ever. I don't need anything. I have no problems. Goodbye. My family's in Israel. I'm in Egypt. Nothing to do with them anymore. That's what it sounds like. As a matter of fact, the Radak says, Nashani Elokim means that now I'm a wealthy man. And you know what? Well, even if you go through tremendous suffering and pain and torture, but if all of a sudden you have a new mazel, a new fortune, somehow Hashem gives you that ability just to tune everything else out. Because now your life is so rich. Is that pshat? No. Says the Heilige Rebbe. That's all. I think it was Chudash Rim, if I'm not mistaken. You know what Nashani Elokim, as Kol Amali, as Kol Beis Avi means? It means that Yosef was ready to let go. Not to forget, and not to disassociate, and not to sever ties, but he was willing to let go, to move on. He was willing to take. He had a lot of resentment. Of course he has resentment. He's entitled to have resentment. Wasn't he? He was tortured. He was sold, a brother to be sold into slavery, to be thrown into a pit. They had their good excuses. They had their good reasons. They certainly did. But still, halachically they had rationale. But still, pasnished. It's not appropriate. It's a brother. It's your egana. It's your own. You've got to think of another way. So Yosef had years harboring this hostility, this negativity, this resentment. Really wanted probably nothing to do with him ever again. Nashani Elokim, as Kol Amali, as Kol Beis Avi, you know what it means? It means that I have a lot of reason to be retaliatory. I have a lot of reasons to be vindictive. I have a lot of reasons to be vengeful. I have a lot of reasons to hate. I have a lot of reasons to despise and detest. I have a lot of reasons to never want to talk to them again and to write them off from my life. And we all have people in our lives that we probably think that about, or that one time we did, or maybe we will, God forbid. Yosef said, no. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to move on. There must be a plan for it. There must be a reason for it. And that's other. Other is coming to the recognition that even if you were pained, and even if you have a reason to not want to let go, Aleph Dar, there's a Rabban Shem in the world. Don't be God. The more you think you're God, and the more you think you have to hold on, and the more you think you have to be the one to take revenge, the less you will feel good and healthy and calm. The more you understand that there's a God, there's an Eibishter that reckons with everything, the easier it is for you to let go. That's Aleph Dar. There's Rabban Shem who's here, who lives with us. Nashani Elokim, as Kol Amali, as Kol Beis Avi. I'm willing to let go, I'm willing to move on. That's other. That's Chodesh other. So powerful. But it goes deeper than that. Because in this week's Parsha, which always coincides, Kemat, so often, with Rosh Chodesh Adar, Truma, what does it say? It says, V'yikhu li Truma. Take from me a Truma. You know what it means? What's a sharish of the word Truma? What's a sharish? The sharish of the word Truma, the root, the etymology of the word Truma, is Roim. You know what Roim means? The high. V'yikhu li Truma. So, you know what the Rabbi was saying to you? Take from me the high road. That's what he's saying. If you believe in me, if you believe there's an Aleph door, take from me the Rome. Take from me the high road. Don't be petty. Don't be frivolous. Don't hold on. Let go. Take the high road. Be chuli truma. Take from me the high road. You know what? It's not easy. But the Torah says, "V'asului migdash." Make for me a migdash. Make for me a temple. Says a Kotzker, it doesn't only mean a physical edifice. It doesn't mean a physical building, as we had in Eretz Yisrael, the first base of Mikdash, the second base of Mikdash, Bez Hashem, Behira, Yibana base of Mikdash, the third base of Mikdash. It means, make for me a Mikdash in your hearts. Make for me a place that's sacred, where you believe in me. And if you really believe in me, and you make a place for me that's sacred, then you'll know what it means. Nashani Elokim es kol amaliv es kol beisavi. You'll be able to let go and move on. Make for me a place that's sacred. And that means, in the next 60 days, to make for Hashem a sacred place in your life. Sanctify your time. Sanctify your life. Because the more you do for Hashem, the more you do for others, the happier the person you will be. You'll be able to be more b'simcha. To sanctify the time that you have. Find time within your busy day to love Hashem and to think about Hashem and to be grateful, to have gratitude for those that are in your life, that you love, that care about you. And make sure to make time in your life for others to do chesed. And that's why I think that Mikdash, the first base of Mikdash, which was the true base of Mikdash, in all its glory, when you had the Aron Kodesh, you had the Shechina. Second base of Mikdash was holy, but didn't have the Shechina, didn't have the Aron. First base of Mikdash lasted 410 years, which is the precise, 410 is the precise gematria of Nashani. Letting go. Letting go. Because when you let go, you're building a Mikdash for Hashem. Because you're saying how Aleph Dor, the Rebbe Shalom dwells, he resides. And I want to tell you a story that happened to me. You know, it's very easy to judge others, and it's very easy to be cold to others, and to not let go. But I think that if we really understood who we are, the Metzius, in essence, what we're really all about, we're connected to Hashem. They once asked the Goin, the Tzaddik Rabbi Osher Weiss from Yerushalayim, the big posek, Minchas Osher. They asked him the following question. I have a recording of it. Is kiruv important? Be makar of others. Bring the others closer. And he said, what do you mean? What kind of question is that? He said, well, we spoke to certain people, I don't know if they're Rosh Hashivas, and they're like, they're greater priorities for Yiddishkeit. Like building yeshivas. And you know what Rav Asher said? Rav Asher said, there is no greater mitzvah than being makar of others and bringing them tachas kafi Shechina, bringing them closer to Hashem. That's what he said. Why? He said the following. He said, we refer to the Hashem as Avinu Av Rachman, our Father, our merciful Father. That's referred to Hashem. We refer to him as Avinu Malkeinu. Tata. Everything is about Avinu. The Rebbe Shalom was a father. He said, the father has 10 sons. And 9 of them are average, mediocre maybe. Maybe some of them excel. Maybe some of them are more scholastic. And they're all learning. They're all Yerushalayim. They set some time for learning. Okay, maybe he'd want them to learn a little more. But they work and they learn. And they're good people. They're nice boys. But one One closed the doors on his father. He has no connection. 9 out of 10 sons, 9 out of 10 boys, there's Chaim and there's Yaakov and there's Reuven and Levi and all good boys. But one, Shmuel, he closed the doors. Who do you think the father's thinking about? He has 10 sons. Yom v'layla. Where does he have his anguish? Who's he davening for? Who's he hoping for? Who's he crying about? That 10th son, Shmuel, is basically almost like his ancient it's like his only one. He says, the Rebbeinu Shalom has many, many yeshivas, he said. There's Lakewood and there's BMG and there's all these wonderful, Baruch Hashem, Mekaymus HaKadosh, wonderful holy places. His 9 out of 10, but don't you think the Rebbeinu Shalom, that one son, that he has no shaykhs to, that left, or that never knew him, that's what the Rebbeinu Shalom is crying about. That's what Rav Asher Weiss. Therefore, he said that if you could make Makara one person, you give the greatest nachas ruach to the Eibishter. So, if there's a father, that means we're brothers and sisters. As a family, we have a chiyuv, an obligation to keep shalom bayis in a family. And even if a sibling does something a little bad, you have to preserve and keep that family intact. That's the most important obligation that we have. To keep a family intact. We are a family. You know what that means? That means being kind to each other even if the sibling doesn't deserve it. You know, there's a prohibition called ribbis. We're not allowed to charge interest. Guy comes to me and he says, I need $3,000. So if I have the $3,000 to loan him, I said, listen, that $3,000 I could have invested. I could have made 12% on it, 10%. No, you're not going to make it anywhere 10 or 12% anywhere. If you are, then it's Bernie Madoff scheme, okay? You stay far away. I could have put it in the CD and get 2%. No. So I'm going to charge you. You're not allowed to charge him interest. Why? Why? He's a stranger. The answer is because if your brother or sister came to you, your own brother or sister came to you and said, they're going through a little hard time, they need a loan, and you have the audacity, you dare ask them for interest? A chutzpah naira, an azus panim. Who are you? Asking a sibling for interest? You know, ask another Jew, we're brothers and sisters. So listen to this amazing story. I was at a simcha. I was sitting at the table with a bunch of people, and this kid gets up and sings. And I'll tell you the truth, okay, he sang, was nice, but then he just keeps on singing and singing. And listen, I didn't think he had the best voice, And I was getting a little ad nauseum, I was getting a little, okay, it's enough, right? And I'm thinking the guy next to me, I'm about, finally the kid stops singing. I'm going to turn to the guy next to me. I'm going to say, I'm thinking, I want to do it, but I was thinking in my head, I want to really say, Baruch Hashem, he's finished. All right. And the guy turns to me, the one that's sitting next to me, with the most beatific smile on his face. And he says, wasn't he amazing, my son? I said, oh boy, Baruch Hashem, I didn't say anything. You know what? That's your Rebbeinu Shalom. The Rebbeinu Shalom, every child of his, he takes nachas in. And you may not like that child. You may say, it's enough, let him stop already. The Rebbeinu Shalom, he says, I'm kvelling, that's my nachas, it's my kinder, it's my child. That's us. Chodesh Adar. Chodesh Adar is about the fact that we were almost killed out. Almost killed out. There's one thing that saved us. Achdus. That we came to realize we're brothers and sisters. Let's work on Ador, Aleph Dor. Let's work on Simcha. Bez Hashem, we should be Zoicha Bez Hashem. And we should see Bez Hashem be us Gol Tzedek and Her V'Yameinu. Amen. Thank you for listening.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.